welcome to the first Sync Executive Insight of 2020. My name is Jason Senamore, Chief Product Officer here at Sync. I'm delighted to be joined for the first interview of the year with Mr. Ross Tucker, CIO at Texas United Corporation, and also member of the Sync Executive Council representing the TOLA region. Ross, thank you so much for jumping on with me today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So, as I mentioned, Ross is a member of our Sync Executive Council and in turn an integral part of creating the content for the agenda that we have coming up at the TOLA IT and Security Leaders Forum. Get into a little bit more about that in a bit. But given that this is the first interview of the year, Ross, you're the first CIO that Sync are going to be chatting with. We'd love to get your thoughts on what you think 2020 has in store for everybody in your position. You know, some of the key trends you see developing this year and some of the topics that you feel certain individuals might start waking up to that they haven't necessarily in the past.
Certainly. You know, 2020 is going to be an interesting year. You've heard me talk in the past about what I call the fourth industrial revolution. And that is the combination of the Internet of Things, quantum computing, AI, all of these things coming together along with the consumer world, rather than being a fast follower, seems to be driving the whole IT community these days. So the whole world is about to change for us all. I think we see it in a soft way every day. Anything from banking is changing, from your traditional banks to kiosks that are AI enabled, all the way down to, you know, doing maintenance through object-oriented scanning, these optical recognition. So it's an exciting time, and I think we're not quite all in the adoption mode yet. You know, I've seen some interesting speakers over the course of the last couple of years talking about third world countries leaping ahead of us because this is the first time they're implementing technology. And technology is being implemented so much faster today than it was, say, a decade ago, that they're early adopters of these technologies. We on the other hand, here in the United States especially, and in many of the Western countries, we've been investing in technology. We're depreciating that technology off, and we're sort of reluctant of jumping forward until we've depreciated the millions and billions that we've already spent. So I think there's a pause in the industry right now to just kind of absorb all of this and to understand it. And then I foresee an explosion. And of course, my topic during the upcoming forum is around change management. And I think that's very timely because everything is about to change. It's not going to be the change management that we've been learning for the last 5 or 10 years as IT professionals. We're going to be more of the advisors. We're going to be more about rationalizing IT and where the biggest bang for the buck. I think everybody in the business is going to be coming to us because, quite frankly, I say here at our company that everyone is an IT person. And I think it's going to be more and more that way across all industries and across all facets of life going forward.
Thanks. Interesting little correlation there. Obviously, you talk about AI, a topic that in my conversations with not only yourself, but other executive council members, certainly a focal point for a lot of people this year. Seems to be there's been a bit of hesitance around that topic to date, but people seem to be looking to really dive into that this year. Change management as well. Obviously, when you start implementing technologies as sophisticated as artificial intelligence, change management becomes an important component. Let me ask you, do you feel some of the hesitation towards AI to date has been because of a negative mindset towards artificial intelligence and the reluctance to change, given this idea that it's going to replace jobs rather than enhance people's capabilities to carry out their jobs?
You know, I think that's less of the reason. I think it's more of a lack of understanding. I don't think there's been enough out there about AI that a lot of my peers really understand where, how, what, And until they do recognize that and see the return on the investment, see the benefits of it, see it become more mainstream, that's sort of the reluctance. And that's why I say 2020 is a bit of a pause, because there are some very, very large enterprises out there that are implementing AI across the board in many facets of the business, whether it's business automation within manufacturing or whether it's back in the office in analytic. So I think it's a pause because we don't quite understand and we're not sure where it fits in our respective organizations yet. But I think that's going to become clearer and clearer throughout 2020.
And certain industries, as you mentioned, kind of been really taking the initiative of the power that AI holds. Healthcare is one that comes to mind. We intend to have some case studies at the upcoming TOLA forum about the use of AI in healthcare and how people can translate that into their other industries as well. So, you know, in your perspective, it's a difficult topic, but can people learn a lot from some of the existing use cases we've got, even though they're not necessarily in their respective industries, and be able to take that and start kind of implementing those early stage procedures and at least embarking on the journey?
Absolutely. I mean, it's obvious that technology in general starts off many times, AI especially, in somewhere like the medical profession and in that area of industry, simply because those guys are on the bleeding edge, right? Exploration is very much the same in the oil and gas industry. I'm here in Houston, Texas, and they stay very much on the bleeding edge because these technologies can impact them with a return on investment, even though the investment is much higher. However, I think as we see more of this in the industry in general, across all types of businesses, it's going to spark thoughts and ideas. You know, I'll use the example of what is this taxi service that we have these days? I can't even think of the name. I may have to look at my phone here to see which one it is. Uber. There we go. Uber. Uber's not a new thing. It's a taxi service, right? We've had taxis for 100 years, 200 years. They used to be horse-drawn. But when people started seeing the power of what could happen when you used mobility, when you used applications, when you used the internet, now tying that out with the whole, you know, transportation model, they came up with Uber, and we think we've revolutionized the world. Taxis have been around forever. So my point is that as we see these other industries implementing these technologies, it's going to spark ideas. Hey, you know, I might be able to use that to do something different within my sector and within my industry, but it's the same engine, right? So I absolutely think that that's going to spark more people to start utilizing the technologies that are out there.
Amazing, good. So switching some of our focus to the upcoming forum, the TOLA IT and Security Leaders Program, taking place February 23rd through to the 25th, coming back to Austin, where it all began. As you mentioned, you're going to be helping facilitate a discussion around successfully navigating change management. Obviously, a lot of the talk over the last couple of years is about CIOs and IT leaders getting buy-in from that board level. I appreciate that. That's challenge number one. Challenge number two, once those technologies are implemented, having that adopted all the way down to the lowest level becomes extremely difficult. In speaking with the CIO recently, she mentioned that she had difficulty rolling out a new email system, let alone something as sophisticated as you know, various AI platforms. So what do you hope to essentially address during that discussion? And I suppose what are you hoping to get out of it as a facilitator yourself?
Well, as a facilitator, I'm there also as an attendee, right? So I'm open to new ideas. I want to hear what everybody else's thoughts are. But my own opinions on it moving forward, as I said, we're in a unique time that there's about to be a tremendous wave of technology changes that are going to hit us all. And, you know, I myself, I sit on the University of Houston School of Technology Board, Advisory Board for Project Management. And if you remember, in project management, we always learn to get our key stakeholders and our sponsors, and we start from the top down sort of thing, right? I believe that we're going to have to change that methodology. That really is going to be impactful for the financial side of whatever project that we're trying to accomplish. And the business is going to be driving those projects, as they should always. But I think we're going to have to start from the bottom up. So we need everyone to be a change agent throughout the organization. We almost need to be, we need to step back and let the business market these technology changes, not IT, right? It needs to come from them, and they need to drive it. So I think that's going to be a major change. It's also been, historically, IT comes up with a solution to a problem, and then it's driven from the top down. I think with all of these technology advancements, there's going to be a lot of projects that have worth. They're going to have a return on investment, a lower total cost of ownership. So many so that you're going to see all the different facets of the business, whether it be human resources, manufacturing, sales and distribution, they're going to be coming to us with things that they want to do that they've either read about on or they've seen it in the news, they've seen it on the television. Always used to be the top executives that brought those to people like me and said, oh, I saw on TV, Ross, I think we need to do this. It's not going to be them anymore. It's going to be the general population in the workforce that wants to better their job, that wants, especially, we see it today in millennials. Millennials want to do everything in a blog and everything in an instant messenger and everything on their phone. And they're forcing that into business, into the private and public sectors. They're forcing it into government. They're forcing it in everywhere. So I think, again, we're going to have to rationalize what makes sense for the business. Remember, for the most part, except for those nonprofit organizations, government organizations, most businesses are in to make money. So we can't do everything. If we did everything we wanted, we wouldn't be able to afford it. So we're going to have to rationalize. We're going to have to advise. And then, of course, we're the implementers of these technologies. But an important change in the dynamics of change management is that everyone's a change agent. It's going to have to be marketed. It's going to have to be supported by the business internally. And if it isn't, then you need to question, are we doing the right thing? Is this the right technology to solve the problem, right?
Definitely. So outside of what stands to be quite a compelling discussion during the event on your topic alone, what else are you really looking forward to, and what are you hoping to get from the forum?
Well, obviously over the last few years, things have become very much focused on security. And I think with everything we've talked about here today, I'm really excited to hear how the security community within our organizations are going to address how we control this, how we secure it, how we enable it. Security is becoming, it's been the one thing exponential across all facets of my job that has been, it's taking a tremendous amount of my budget these days. It's affected all of the employees, all the business, whether it's personal information, we're talking about PI, whether it's industrial espionage, whether it's internal security or external security. All of these new technologies bring with them another facet to the security role, right? How do we secure this? So I'm interested to hear a lot on that. I also hope to, as always, spending the time with my peers, talking about the different topics that we have on the agenda for this year, and getting the input from my peers. How are they dealing with these problems? What experiences do they have? We've got several initiatives here at Texas United this year that we have, I'm hoping, peers have gone through and that can share that information with me. And then last but not least, we have a myriad of excellent sponsors there every year. I myself have been attending this for multiple years, as you well know, and we've met several key vendors that we have now brought into the fold here at Texas United and that have done an excellent job. I think we do a great job of vetting out. We don't just open the door to everybody. We bring in some very key and pertinent vendors, and it's up to you to take the time to go and sit with them. They're not forced down my throat, right? I can go down there and visit with them, which is why I've always liked these events. So I think it's going to be a great event. Some great sponsors, some great vendors, some great attendees, and I look forward to all the speakers that we have there this year.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much. Well, we look forward to having you there, and thanks again for all of your support and your role in shaping the agenda for the forum coming up as an Executive Council member. Thanks ever so much for your insight today. As mentioned, Ross will be speaking at the TOLA IT and Security Leaders Forum for February 23rd through to the 25th in Austin. For more information, please feel free to visit the forum page. In the meantime, Ross, thank you very much for your time.
Jason, thank you. I appreciate it.
Cheers.